The U.S. House Judiciary Committee is going to be in Chicago this morning to hold a hearing on violent crime. And you can watch it live at thecentersquare.com/Illinois. That is set to start in about an hour and 20 minutes. They're going to be focusing on Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx's handling of criminal prosecutions, putting that in the national spotlight. It's just one of a whole bunch of different hearings that House committees controlled by Republicans in Washington, D.C. have set up, including the first House impeachment inquiry hearing set for later on this week, and even a special counsel that's investigating Hunter Biden going to appear before a House committee as well. So these things obviously coming to a head as you've got the Congress not coming to terms on a funding bill to keep the government open. I believe at the end of the week is when the government essentially is going to run out of funds unless they have some kind of continuing resolution. But there's some various priorities that people say aren't in line. Everything from whether or not to send more money to Ukraine or whether or not to cut different types of programs. And a whole host of other things. And in this conversation as well is, farmers. The White House yesterday had the Department of Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack to talk about the impacts on farmers, on women, infant, children, nutrition programs, WIC, while SNAP will continue for at least a month. WIC won't. Some states may have some reserve WIC funds they could push out for a week or two, but WIC would end if you have the government shut down. Let alone national parks would be closed if the government shuts down. And you might see barricades put up around monuments in Washington, D.C. It's kind of optics to show people, the government shut down, you can't go to your national parks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But in the meantime, you've got the House Republicans, at least in the Judiciary Committee, not necessarily focusing on the budget. I don't know if that's in the Judiciary Committee's purview necessarily, but they are going to be in Chicago today to look at violent crime. Democrats blasting Republicans for doing that, especially with that government shutdown on the horizon. You've got U.S. Representative Danny Davis criticizing Republicans, telling the Sun-Times that this is not the right approach. You've got Davis saying that the chairman of the Judiciary Committee is not going to work. The discussion is going to be taking place at the Fraternal Order of Police in Chicago. But what has Jim Jordan, the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, said recently? Let's go ahead and pull up his Twitter account here, his X account, formerly known as Twitter. And just in the past few hours, he's been posting about this. Yesterday, he posted 30 shot, 3 killed, 1 weekend. Democrat-run Chicago. Links to an ABC7 article about an 86-year-old man who was shot and killed. He then shares another story from NBC Chicago. A string of armed robberies across several popular Chicago neighborhoods saw at least 5 victims in the span of just minutes. This is what happens when Democrats run your city, Jordan says. He goes on further. He says the city of Chicago has signed a $30 million contract with a private security firm to move newly arrived illegal aliens to massive tents. Why not just secure the border? Couldn't that money be better used on schools, roads, and safety? Jordan goes on with more, retweeting a variety of different stories about catch and release, and 40 to 50 migrants arrived to Chicago by bus. He says it's not just New York. Illegal aliens are arriving in cities like Chicago daily. How long until it happens where you live? Jordan asks. And he also talks about, various other things. Democrat-run Chicago. He shares some headlines here. Armed robbers target victims on North Side 4 times in less than an hour. Chicago police say. Another headline, group of 6 robs 2 women at gunpoint in South Loop, according to Chicago police. DePaul University students targeted in violent robberies on Lincoln Park campus, authorities say. So obviously these are just kind of previews of what to expect when you have the live stream of the House hearing up in Chicago to focus on violent crime. This while you've got the looming shutdown possible. So Kim Foxx, in a statement that the Sun-Times reports, says instead of focusing on the victims of mass shootings caused by weak gun protection laws, including in his own district, he's chosen to spend his time with John Catanzara, the man who, in the immediate aftermath of January 6th, proclaimed it to be simply a protest, Fox said in a statement. This behavior is not surprising, but it is alarming. So Kim Foxx responding because obviously she's going to be a key focus of the House Republican Judiciary Committee in Chicago this morning to delve into that and put a national spotlight on it. So among the various individuals who are going to be testifying in front of the committee today, you've got the panelists including Gianno Caldwell, a family member of a murder victim, Lieutenant John Garrido III, a retired detective with the Chicago Police Department, and Carlos Yanez Jr., a retired officer with CPD. They're going to be testifying during today's hearing. Again, that starts at 9 o'clock. And if you follow me, I'll tweet out where you can watch this live. Again, just you can find it at thecentersquare.com, which just go to the Illinois page. It's top of the page, live stream Tuesday, U.S. House to Focus on Violent Crime in Chicago. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. Good morning. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Greg, this is, I think, early start on getting at Pritzker because he's going to run. You think that's what this is?
You know, I think at this point in history, that type of speculation can be made across the board. Pritzker was recently with Hillary Clinton and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer talking about abortion. You know, some people speculated that was the two kind of getting on a national stage to, you know, in a way, audition, right? Politics is multifaceted and can weave its ugly web across all kinds of things subversely or even right out in the open.
I get what they're doing. A better messenger. Jim Jordan, that's G-Y-M Jordan, not the best messenger for this. Now he cares about victims. Sure didn't give a crap back when he was at Ohio State University. Thanks, Greg.
Appreciate the call. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number if you want to sound off on this. But rather fascinating. We're going to be looking at this tomorrow. Obviously, we'll be reviewing it today and writing about it and getting all sides of the conversation. But wanted to put that on your radar because that's going to be a rather fascinating national spotlight on Chicago crime. But some other headlines here that you've got lined out for House Republicans. You've got the impeachment inquiry hearings, and the first one from Oversight is going to be Thursday, and the witness list has been released on that. You're going to have Bruce Dubinsky, a forensic accountant who founded Dubinsky Consulting, Eileen O'Connor, a former assistant attorney general for the Department of Justice Tax Division, and Professor Jonathan Turley, a nationally recognized legal scholar from George Washington University Law School. That's going to be Thursday morning in the U.S. House Oversight Committee. But you've also got the special counsel investigating Hunter Biden set to appear before another committee. Jim Jordan announcing that special counsel David Weiss scheduled to answer questions from lawmakers in October. So next month, we'll actually see that exchange. And if you guys didn't see the exchange that the Department of Justice had with members of the House, you had Merrick Garland there, the Attorney General, not really answering many questions about David Weiss and why they did not go after tax charges and allowing for the statute of limitations to expire on that. And Garland just really didn't answer those questions at all. So a lot of fireworks expected in the next few days as we have this hearing focused on Chicago crime, the impeachment inquiry hearing later on this week, and a deadline to fund the government by the end of the week. All of that coming to a head in a pretty spectacular way.